Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast with J. Gordon Duncan. And if you're wondering why the J, the answer is, I'm not a bagpipe player. And if that joke doesn't make any sense, I encourage you to check out episode 0, where I explain that joke, as well as the purpose of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast, where we talk about faith, family, fitness, finances, and sometimes fun. Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast. I'm very thankful. You can see I'm back in the studio. No more filming in the basement. But I do want to say thank you. Last week, I did that episode on what would you do if AI created a podcast episode. And I got a great reaction on that, so I appreciate it. They wrote AI wrote the episode. I recorded it. It came across pretty well. So thank you always, guys. I start with thank you. Recently just hit the 5-year anniversary. So recording this, I think it was 2 days ago. 5 years, 40,000 listens. This is episode 450. That's crazy that you guys have hung in there that long. And I appreciate it. And I'm thankful for Shane Dell, who always makes me look and sound better. And I really am. So hang around to the end. I've got a huge announcement. But right now, we're going to get to my friend Corbin. Corbin, thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me, Gordon.
And,
I appreciate it.
Listen, I need to have more guests. I get lazy. And I'm like, just do solo episodes because I like to hear myself talk. But introduce yourself. Tell me what you do. Tell everybody what you're up to.
So I'm Corbin Brascher. I own the Capital Agency. It's an insurance brokerage. We're independent brokers. We broker about 53 companies.
Wow.
I have a long history of insurance background.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in insurance my entire career. I'm also a practicing lawyer.
Crazy.
Yep. Yeah, it keeps you busy. I can tell you that.
Crazy. Well, I mean, I get 2 careers, but anytime someone says lawyer, I just shake my head. I mean, it's amazing.
It's a small segment of what I do, mostly just for friends, family, contract work, some estate planning. Nothing too crazy.
So, married, kids?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Married. Been married for, almost 8 years. 8 years in May.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 3 kids.
Yeah.
11, 6, and 4.
Yeah.
And I know we were talking about it earlier, but all their birthdays are the same week.
That is crazy,
Yeah.
by the way.
I know.
By providence, by accident?
Well,
or did you try to, let's line these things up?
Well, what gets crazier, so the 11-year-old's not mine.
Uh-huh.
She's my stepdaughter.
Okay.
I mean, she's mine, but she's my
Sure,
stepdaughter.
of course.
And so even with her, me not being the father, it's June 8th,
That is amazing.
June 10th, and June 14th.
Wow.
It's wild.
Yeah, that's
it's
crazy.
It's just that time,
most families, by the time you mix in about 5 people, they start clustering anyway. There's very little you can do about it.
Once you go to 3 kids, you're on zone defense anyway, so it's all the
That's
same.
right. So, and listen, guys, in full honesty, so Corbin and I are on the board of the Ron Rosner YMCA. I think that's where we originally met.
Yep.
And so you guys have heard me talk about, I love the YMCA. We've had Alicia on the show before.
Oh, yeah.
She's the best.
She's the best.
Support your YMCA.
Yes.
What it does for the community. Most folks don't know the breadth of what a YMCA does for the community.
And I think that's huge. So we got this moment for the Y.
We should.
I love the Y. I mean, I absolutely love the Y. They've done so much for my kids, for our family. They've been a support system. It's not just a gym. And I think folks, you come outside, you just kind of think, oh, it's another gym, basketball
gym
court.
and swim. I think it is gym and swim.
But it is so much more than that. They do so much for the community.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just, I can't go on all the programs that we offer for the kids and it's just a fantastic place. And
if I shared my story, I can't remember. I mean, we should dive into why a little bit because we should talk about it. But so when I was a church planter, we were meeting at the local school. Okay. And schools are expensive. The rent is set by the state or the county, which is fine, but it's expensive.
Yep.
It really is. And you got to get in there and get out. I mean, you can get in there at 8 o'clock on Sunday, and by 1 you got to be out and that kind of thing. And I was running. And man, it was like 20 degrees one day. I'm like, I can't do this. And I wasn't, I'd been a member of the Y, but I hadn't joined Ron Rosner. I literally drive there. I'm like, guys, it's 20 degrees. Can I just get a day pass? And of course they gave me a day pass. Oh, they're like, go get on the treadmill. What are you going to do? And I just offhandedly said, the pastor of a church, we wanted to rent the space, but there was a church here.
Yep.
It's just me offhand comment. So I'm on the treadmill and Lewis comes up to me.
Oh, yeah.
And Lewis is like, hey, I hear you're a pastor. I'm like, yeah. And he goes, you want to rent the Y? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, it's open.
Really?
And I was like, well, let's talk. And 6 weeks later, we were in the Y, and it was like half to 2/3 of the cost of what we were paying. And I'm not the pastor there anymore, but that church still meets there.
Oh, yeah.
And so the Y was fantastic, just to give the church a home. It rescued us in that period of time. We've partnered with them for food drives. And, so many other things. So, it's guys, find your Y. Love them, support them. It's more than a Gold's Gym or Platinum Fitness. Those things are great. But it's just amazing.
That's a big difference, I think, in the Y and other gyms. So the gym's mission is just health and fitness. Like that is their mission. The Y does that as well, but it does so much more.
Yeah.
It's more trying to build the community and help the community. And that's why I think the Y is obviously not. I know it's the best gym.
Yeah. I mean, everything from my daughter, low muscle tone. We spent one summer going to classes, and Angie was there, and just doing a strength class.
Yep.
And kicked my butt, man.
Those classes are no joke.
They did, but for Meredith, that summer transformed her. Like gave her confidence, gave her strength. We were going 2-3 days a week during the summer. I really should get back. I mean, because all I do is run. I really should get back to those classes. But it made a big difference.
It does. So. I mean, and they do. I don't know. They just do so much. I mean, we do the backpack drives for kids where we'll take kids shopping.
Yeah.
I just like I said, I can't go on at all the things we do.
Child care for first responders. I mean, those kind of things.
That's why you should just come check it out because like they gave you a day pass.
Easy.
Most folks who have never been there, just come check it out. They'll help you. They'll walk you through, show you the facilities, and then they'll let you try it out and see if it's something you like.
Yeah. And not many places where you can find a pool.
Yep, I know. An indoor pool, heated.
Classes for adults, folks who are limited mobility.
Yep.
When I tore my calf muscle 2 marathons ago, I would get in the pool and go to the shallow end and just walk laps.
Oh, yeah.
I'd walk for 45 minutes till my feet were raw just because I could stay active and not hurt that calf, and the space was there, man.
I know. Now they put that expansion on, so we've got the hot tubs, we've got steam rooms, you've got pretty much everything that the other gyms did have, and now we have them too.
Well, let me connect that with what you're doing.
Okay, let's do it.
I know that, first of all, the why is important to you, so I knew that was foundational, and I joined the board because it was important to me.
Yep.
But with the capital agency, right now, the capital agency, but you have jumped into the community.
That was the goal.
And the board was, I'm sure, part of that plan.
Yep. Well, actually, to kind of go back, so the board was, so I used to work at a company called Marsh.
Okay.
The biggest insurance broker in the world.
Wow. Okay.
Marsh McLennan Agency, they're all over the world. They're at every country you could think of. We had an office there. I actually joined the Y for that. Because I was trying to grow our brand in our area to bring in more businesses.
Sure, networking and the whole thing. Yeah.
Yep. So I was like, I'll jump this, but then it transitioned beautifully when I decided to start my own venture. And then the transition was seamless because it did help propel me to meet you, folks like you.
Yeah.
It helped propel me into the community.
Well, tell me about that. I mean, so I've been that road. You start a new business. Doesn't matter how much experience you have.
Yes.
You put a new shingle out, you become brand new, and you've got to get your face everywhere your face can be.
Yes.
So right now you're established. You guys are growing. You guys have got momentum. But as a young business owner, if you were speaking to other business owners, tell me about the networking you've done and how important it is.
Okay, so networking is everything. When you first start, networking is you're building your brand. So you're building that company, and it's tough. I mean, it is hard road, but you've got to be out joining boards. You've got to get out, set up meetings with people in person. I'm more of an in-person. I like to meet in person.
Yeah.
So a lot of social media. I mean, social media's been a big driver. That's been, honestly, social media's been the biggest driver for us. Facebook.
That's great.
I didn't have Facebook before this. I did when I was younger, but then I canceled it, brought it back, and that has propelled us. And I think what you have to do is you have to be consistent, like you taught me. You've got to be consistent. But then you've also got to do stuff that others aren't doing. So there's not many insurance folks that I see that are actively...
Not with your coverage. You're right.
I don't see it, and that's what's getting us the difference. So we've only been in business less than a year.
Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, so June 1st is our official year mark of launching. But I just don't see... There was an empty space there on Facebook, and I just took it.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
That's the essence of any growing business is where is there a need that needs to be met, and then how I fill it.
Exactly.
So with our networking group 212, we do what's called biz chats.
Yep.
And you're supposed to meet everybody in the group. And so there have been many times that in a biz chat I look at them and I go, well, they're not my target audience, right? Probably not going to. Personal financial planners paying for marketing is almost impossible, right? But they know people that I don't know.
Exactly.
And you know what? I know people who might need their services. So it's not mercenary work.
No.
It's like I'm getting to know you. Hey, what can I do to help you?
Yep.
Here's my card if you know one and that kind of thing. And then board work. I was having a conversation with a realtor who things have slowed down, right? I mean, it's
Yep.
not 2 years ago.
The market's a little slow right now.
And they were like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, I can tell you exactly what to do. Go find a nonprofit that you're passionate about
Yep.
and do nothing but serve.
Yes. Serve.
That's it. That's it.
Serve.
Yeah, because
I think a lot of the times attention, this is something I learned, or I'm still learning, I guess, because I'm still learning every day of things that I'm doing wrong or things that I need to improve on. And one of the things is you don't have to go to these meetings with an intention of securing business, like you said.
Exactly. Not at all.
It's just serving. Like, I'm here to help people. And I'm also network. So you're creating that spider network where it's like, even if I'm meeting you, like I meet you,
Yeah.
you may not need my services, but you have, how many people do you know that could potentially be part of that web?
Yeah.
And then the serving part is, when I go to the Y every day, and I go to the board meetings, I don't go there with the intention of how can I ramp up my business.
Exactly.
It's what can I do for the Y? And I think that's huge.
And when you do that, and when you get opportunities to see the result,
Yep.
when Alicia says 112 kids got backpacks,
Yes.
right? And they're crying
Yep.
at the Walmart trip or the Target
Yep.
trip. And it makes you think, I want to do more.
Yes, you do.
Like, where can I do more?
Yes.
Where can I do more? And then you try to fit it in there, because when you do that, it does come back to you.
Oh, it
Like,
does.
It does.
It full circles back.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly believe my contributions to the Y is one of the reasons that we're so successful right now. And it's not, like I said, it's not because I pitch or I go there and I sell myself. It's just because I'm out in the community helping people. So you naturally will bring up conversations with folks and you just talk. What do you do? And then that's what spurns your network.
Yeah. I'm on 2 boards, and they've asked me to be on the boards.
Yeah.
Like, I've never actually sought out and said, I need to be on that board.
Yep.
Only because you show up and you show up and you serve.
Yep.
And then I've turned down 2 boards because just personally, it's like, I can only do 2, man.
Yes.
I can only do 2. So I'm going to roll off one, I don't know, May of next year, and
Not the Y.
I'll add another one. Right. No, I'm not going around the Y, but yeah, because I think you can do that. And the entrepreneurs who are ahead of me,
Yes.
the multi-million-dollar philanthropists, and they serve on 2 or 3 big boards.
Yes.
Or have started their own foundation.
That's huge.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is huge.
So what long range? I mean, so when you think, okay, you made this impact in 9 months.
Yeah,
So,
too
like,
fast.
when you see the capital agency in 5 years, what kind of impact are you hoping to make in 5 years for your customers, but also the community?
I mean, obviously, we want to grow internally. We want to have more producers and things like that. But I think our impact on the community is we want to continue to give back. But the more we get in, the more that we're going to be able to push out to the community. So maybe it is starting a foundation. I don't know if 5 years we'll be able to do something like that.
Sure.
But there's definitely more boards that I want to eventually be a part of. But right now, we're just kind of in the infancy stages of our business. So I don't want to overextend to where I can't give my 100% to another board. Because right now, I give 100% to the Y and 100% to our business.
Yep.
But eventually, maybe a Rotary Club or something along those lines would be something for me to look
Civic.
into.
Yeah.
Just something. I just want to make an impact, and that's very important to me. So I was born and raised here in Spotsylvania County.
Awesome.
I love this county, and I want to be out there to help people, and that's something that I feel like we do with insurance. Is most of the time, you go with an insurance agent, they just sell you a product, but we take the time to make sure you're educated on that product, and I think that is vital. The time to learn about your coverages is not the day you have a claim; it's the day you buy that policy.
Right.
And that's what I think we need to do for our community is we need to educate you on insurance because nobody's taking that.
Personal insurance carriers, insurance clients have to advocate for themselves.
Yes.
Once you get into a situation with a claim,
Yep.
Whether it be Geico to Medicaid, I don't care what. Like, you've got to be able to say, "This is my policy.
Yes.
This is what the black and white says."
Yep.
Because if you don't know, people are not trying to deceive you sometimes, but if you don't know, you don't get the full application and the coverage.
Yep, that's crucial because think about this. So if you all go online and you buy your policy, right? You go online, you get whatever policy you get, then it's up to you to argue against the carriers. You're fighting the carrier yourself. You don't have an agent or a broker to fight for you. That's where I think our expertise on the claims and legal side, because I've litigated numerous insurance policies.
Yeah.
I've done anything you can do in insurance. I've sued insurance companies all the way to representing clients, like the state of Virginia was one of my clients, and we went after the insurance companies to get coverage for our clients. That's where we come in. So if you are in a claim situation and you're not getting what you think you should be getting, or you just need help with the process, that's where we are.
That's incredible.
Yeah, we go step by step. We'll guide you. And the thing about insurance is if you're on the policyholder side, you need to make it gray. So black and white is what the carriers want.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it for many times.
Okay.
Gray is what you want. Gray
What
is...
does that look like? I don't know what
All
that
right,
means.
so let's say, just kind of off the cuff, let's say you've got a claim and the facts of the loss are just, could go one way or the other. So the facts of the loss, let's say it could be described as a flood, or it could be described as some kind of pipe burst from another home that went into your house, or something like that, just something along those lines. If I can argue, or the way I present the claim, if I can just make it just so it's not clear one way or the other, or try to obviously steer it towards the covered way, and the carrier can't find evidence to fight otherwise, then they're going to pay that claim, because the carrier's responsibility is if it is gray, they pay.
All right, it's good to know. That's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing to know.
There's a lot to it. There's a lot to insurance nuance that most folks don't know, and that's why it's great to have a broker.
I imagine that's where your legal background helps you with this. So, I've been dying to talk about this on the podcast. Okay, and I know that there's limits about what you can talk about.
Certain things.
So Corbin and I talk books you're reading, podcasts, anything related to growing the business. We get together and talk about how we can't turn our brains off. All that's part of it. But I mentioned the Showtime series about Uber.
Yes.
And it talks about that middle range when they were with investors, but had not blown up to like multi-billions of dollars and that kind of thing. And so you were a lawyer for Uber. Is that correct?
I was a lawyer for their insurance company.
Okay.
Yep. So I was just kind of my role, just to kind of make sure there's no
don't get in trouble. I don't want to get you in trouble.
I don't want to get any issues. So I was a director at James River.
Okay.
I oversaw anything litigation.
Okay.
So if there was litigation going on with Uber involving an auto accident, involving sexual assault and batteries, coverage issues, or severe injuries, my team had it.
Okay.
So obviously I dealt with Uber every day, all day.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, I mean, they had some real challenges, even when they were $1 billion company, like creating a healthy culture.
Oh yeah.
And then just healthy practices. I mean, they had to fight the taxi lobby, to get started.
Oh yeah.
And then it was, are you tracking people's personal data? And so personal data is the question for tons of people right now.
Oh yeah.
But then they also have it looked like a pretty toxic culture.
Yes.
And so I don't want you to get yourself in any trouble, but I'll ask you this question. In doing that, what did you learn about being a business person by being a lawyer that in some way was related to what Uber was going through?
I mean, I think, honestly, it's just treat people like people. You just, no matter if it's the janitor or the CEO, you just treat them like people.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's rocket science. I think they just got so consumed in the money that it was all about, because they weren't profitable for years. There were so many years that they didn't make any
Tons
money.
of companies aren't profitable for years.
Yeah. Just, investors flooding in money, and it was all about the bottom dollar, and it was not about the people running the company. And it flowed over to us. Like, we'd go to meetings. I'd go to visit Uber probably twice a year. We'd go to Chicago a lot because that was where their legal headquarters was. So we'd go there, present cases, kind of roundtable cases, and then just talk about overall what's going on in, with Uber's world.
Right.
And a lot of the times, not going to go in depth on everything, but we were looked down on, or not necessarily looked down on, but we were just talked down to.
Okay.
I guess is a better way to put it. And then afterwards, you'd be like, oh, nothing happened. It was the most, and honestly, it was really strange. So after we would get kind of whipped on all our case handlings, they offered me a job.
Oh, crazy. Okay.
Yeah, they offered me, they asked if I wanted to come be a counsel for Uber, move to Chicago. So I declined it. It's money.
Did you think about it? Did you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was flattering. I mean, I felt great. When I left we were at dinner, and one of their senior counsels offered me the position. I called my wife, was super amped about it, but I knew we're not moving to Chicago. And I'm not all about money. Money is, obviously I need money to survive, but it's not my sole driver in life. It doesn't.
It's interesting. So in 2003, I started my first business. I was consulting with eye doctors because I came out of an eye clinic background, and so I could come in and grow their revenues, give them that extra set of eyeballs. So somewhere around, 05, 06, I was working with an eye doctor. He had 3 practices, really booming. And he connected them quite often in partnership with a local dentist.
Yep.
So they would go into buildings together and that kind of thing. And the dentist saw what I was doing, pulled me aside, and he's like, and this is 506. He's like, I give you 6 figures right now to be my vice president. He says, but I will own you.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, I mean, I might have been making 22 grand. You
and
know,
that's tempting.
maybe I was good at what I did, but I was doing like 5 things. And, you know, I told him on the spot, listen, I really appreciate that, but I'm going in this direction. And he was like, I'll give this offer to you. You know, you can come back to me one time. And, you know, Amy and I talked about it only because, I mean, you've got to talk about the fact that someone just offered you 6 figures, right? And it happened to me one other time. It happened to me in 2017. A vice president offer 6 figures. Funny. 14 years different. The money didn't go up. But either way, the main direct, I just thought it's going to control my life.
And that is the key. Like, that's, I mean, honestly, I don't know if I could ever go back to where I actually got a call yesterday. It's so weird to talk about that. I got a call yesterday and got a job offer.
Good for you. I mean, they recognize, but...
Well, it's a new insurance carrier in Richmond. And it was great salary, but it's, like I said, it's not all about the money. And I think that's important for young entrepreneurs to know that you're not going to be making piles of money when you first start. Unless you hit a home run somehow or something, you know. But leaving corporate America, it's a grind. But it's so rewarding. Yeah. And you just can't stop. Like, I cannot stop.
Nah. It's interesting. If you ask me if I'm owned right now, of course I'm owned right now. But I make every decision about what I'm owned versus someone calling me at 2 o'clock in the morning and saying, you got to get here right now.
And that was...
And that's it. Of course I'm owned right now because you and I are building... We're building something that's not intended just to be small. It's intended to bless our families, the community, and a lot of other people. But if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to get owned, right?
Yes. You've got... Yeah, you just got to be ready to work harder than you ever worked and make less money than you've ever made. Yeah. It sounds so bad, but it is so good. But the 2 o'clock thing made me think, because that was the life I left. It was the Uber would email us at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm responding because it was Uber. Uber, they didn't want the 24-hour response time. It was within an hour. They needed a response, and that was their work culture.
Well, I think there's a quote from Mark Cuban, and at this point in time, I'm sure the numbers have been, changed over time. But he said something along the line of, he goes, "I'd rather work 80 hours for me to make $40,000 than work 40 hours for you to make $80,000. Now, but your family's got to buy into that. Yes. And so now for Amy and I want to hear your story. Amy and I have planted 2 churches. We've gone to zero, I think 4 times in our lives where you go full control, alt, delete on life. And so I guess we're built for it to a certain extent. Yeah. Now we're in the vehicle now. We feel like, okay, this is the driver.
This is the finals.
This is the driver. Well, you be careful what you say, but this has all, capitalizes all the makings of being what we would like for it to be. So as much as you feel comfortable.
Oh yeah.
I mean, your family. I mean, so you've done this. You left. You're a lawyer. Yep. And then you said, hey, we're starting our own thing.
Yep, and that's the thing. So I had a great salary, great benefits. It was a great company to work for. That's why I don't want to construe it as Marshall. They were a great place to be, great people. Yeah. But I knew it wasn't me, as in it wasn't in my heart. So me and my wife, we sat down. She had her best year as a real estate agent the year before. We sold some property that we had, and we were just like, there's never going to be a better time. And we thought we were ready. We thought we had enough capital. We thought we were set. And we've gone down to the bare bottoms we've bled everything that we worked so hard for. Yeah. And I was talking about this today earlier with Megan, and there's been moments I've been in tears on the bed. Like I remember one night I went upstairs and I just felt like such a failure because I was like, I gave up everything. I put my family in this position, and then I'm not making any money like this. I felt pretty bad. Sure. But then there's also moments where I feel like I could take on the world because I'm killing it. But financially, I mean, we've had to take equity out of a rental house we did have. Sure. We've changed our entire lifestyle. And honestly, I would recommend this to people. You should look at all the things that you pay for on a monthly basis. And I guarantee you probably eliminate half of this junk you spend money on. I hope, knock on wood, that after we start making, cash flow equivalent to what we were before or more, that we don't go back to our old spending habits. Because my life, I don't have as much stuff. I don't eat out as much. We don't order in. But my life quality is even better than it's ever been.
Sure. Yeah.
Way better.
In 03, when we made the first start my own business, and that was when I was going back to get my master's degree, we sold a car, asked my sister-in-law to move in and pay rent.
Yep.
Because that year we made $17,000. I went from 50 to 17 in 2003. And but that was starting the business, finishing the master's degree, and it worked.
Yep.
And then I shared with you here we sold our house.
Yep.
And paid off every debt we had. Like we'll just go thin for a while. But I don't know an entrepreneur who doesn't have that story.
You have
a successful entrepreneur who doesn't have that story.
I think the difference for me. So I actually opened a cleaning company. I was in law school. Mm-hmm. Commercial cleaning company called Finer Details Cleaning.
Strong.
Yeah. And the reason I did it is because I spent so much time in offices. I was like, well, I might as well clean them so I can make some money. Because I didn't have a scholarship. My parents aren't super wealthy to pay for anything, so it was all me. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, I'll just work. So I finished law school in 2 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
dude.
It was start to finish. I pushed pedal to the metal because I didn't have living expenses for a third year. So I was like, I got to go.
Everybody choice you have, yeah.
So I did it, grinded. Mm-hmm. In and out in 2 years, and I still worked. I worked as a GA, a graduate assistant for a professor. But the thing the reason my cleaning business wasn't super successful was because I wasn't 100% in, because I was pulled in so many places.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference is I've tried to do things on the side or tried to do. You have to, if you want to start a successful business, you've got to be 100% in.
You're right.
You've got to dive in.
I was fortunate to be at a dinner table not too long ago. It's about 6 of us. I know personally that at least 3 people at that table were millionaires. And so I'm just going to sit and listen. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to sit and listen because I want to be in rooms where everyone's smarter than me, right? And one of them just took a moment and said, hey, I appreciate everybody being here. He goes, everybody at this table, well, nobody at this table had things handed to them.
Yes.
And I'm looking around and you see very successful people. None of them are opulent. None of them are going to get a Netflix series. Some BMWs in the room, but no one's doing anything crazy. But then a couple of them shared stories. They're like, dad left or, worked at a sub shop or whatever. And it's just encouraging.
Yes.
And at my seminar a couple of weeks ago, Joel Griffin came on and he said, listen, I've been at nothing.
Yes.
And you think, really? And so he shared that. So most everybody that has made that entrepreneurial leap has had to go all in to zero.
It's almost like you have to do it because you just got to be able to put everything you have in it. And I think that's what it is. Your back's against the wall, and the only way out is to put everything you have in it to push through that wall.
Yeah.
And if I could share a story about my dad.
Please share anything. Yeah.
He is my hero.
That's
by
awesome.
far. Yeah.
That's awesome.
He came from nothing. Like, my grandfather was a Marine. He's also a super great guy. They grew up like they were heating their house with their oven. They had, 5 kids. It was pretty much the mom only at home because my grandfather fought in 3 wars. He was gone all the time. And so my dad had 0 when he graduated high school. This guy went to work at a factory, General Motors, right down here off Route 2.
Right.
But then he started or bought some real estate. But to do that, what he did was he went to the bank in the morning because he could only qualify for half the loan. Back then, they didn't have electronic banking.
Right.
Got half the loan in the morning, got half the loan in the afternoon.
And then, before the two found out?
Yeah, before the 2 banks could find out.
I love that. That's some hustle right there.
It was huge, but he was like telling me when I was growing up, he was like, I took a risk. I could have devastated our whole family. I could have crushed everything. But it caused him that fear, or I guess that need to support your family pushed him, and he retired at 50.
Wow, that's amazing.
I know.
That's incredible.
He started he built that building off Route 3 in front of the mall, that automotive building, the Browning and Meineke building. He ended up running an automotive business on the side. He had a manager who ran it day to day. Sold the business to the manager, let him take the business, but he kept the building. And He kept that building for 30 years.
Smart.
He built it from scratch. 30 years later, he sold it for how much ever, and he's just been...
Well, I love that story because in part, we've got a couple options, and I really hope everybody hears this. And I am not speaking from any haughty position here at all. When we see people, let's move your dad and just saying he's this dude. He's Jimbo.
Yep.
And it's easy to look at Jimbo and go, well, like shake it off. Like, well, some people can do that. And not everybody can be an owner or an entrepreneur. But a lot of people who found that success busted their butt. And yes, they achieved success. And there's no need for us to hate on anybody who found a way for financial security or to be smart.
Yep.
I know eye doctors who lost their hands, who continued to be successful eye doctors, sold their practices for $1 million. You'd have every reason to go, well, I should have quit. I lost my hand. He's like, I just do it with my left hand. Exactly. I mean, there's people like when I see success, I don't immediately hate on people anymore.
No.
And I think, well, what can I learn? I may not want to do what you did, but like, what can I learn? Because
there's always something to learn.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need for us to hate on successful people, but it's very popular right now.
Oh, it is.
It's very popular right now.
It is, because it's almost like you look down on because you're successful, but nobody sees the work that goes into putting you there.
Yeah.
They didn't see you leave your job, your secure job with benefits and a salary. They didn't see the struggles, or you up till I'm up working pretty much till 1 o'clock every night. I mean, nobody sees that. They just see the Facebook posts or the stuff you have or the things you do, and they automatically assume, well, you know.
And you know what? There's plenty of folks who don't go the entrepreneur route who do incredibly well, provide for their families, super benefits and pensions, and I applaud that. I applaud that. And I want to know how they did it as well.
Yes.
Like, how'd you do that? But if we're not, and we'll get to our other favorite topic, if you're not a continuous learner, you're not going to grow a business.
No, not even close.
Yeah, I mean, and right now, it's all free.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, I have a program you can pay for, but I mean, but if you want to get a book or a podcast or YouTube, they're out there. Those billionaires are out there telling you how they did it.
Oh, there's endless resources.
Yeah.
Endless. Spotify. I mean, there's so many ways you can get content to learn.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from the Bigger Pockets podcast, which taught me a lot about real estate. And real estate is also very passionate of mine. That's a huge part of my life. So there's opportunities everywhere to learn. Yeah. And you have to.
I mean, I tell this story all the time. So everyone laughs at me. I'm not mechanically inclined. And if I wanted to be, I would quit speaking that way. But I accept where I'm at in life, right? Every summer, I have to get this YouTube video out of this old dude telling me how to wire my weed eater again.
Oh, to string the weed eater?
I forget every year. But I'm like, I pull up this guy. He's got the same weed eater. He's so slow, and then I'm like, all right, I got it. But for me, I just don't keep it anywhere. Oh, yeah. I'm like, well, Joe's going to tell me to do this every day. But that applies to, well, what if I wanted to start a business? I don't even know how to start a business, an LLC. There's a YouTube that will tell me how to do that.
Yes.
Like, how do you make your first hire? There's tons of YouTubes. I got 4 YouTubes about that. Like, I mean, there's tons. Yeah, I mean, like, it's if we want to learn, we can seek it out, and if we want to make a leap, we can purchase it.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, true. Yeah, go learn it step by step on your own. But if you need to make a leap, I mean, at 52, I pay for coaching.
Yeah,
because I need to make a leap.
Yep.
How'd you do it? And then if you outgrow your coach, great. Either become one or find the guy ahead of you.
Yeah.
Find the guy ahead of you. The guy sitting at that table.
Well, I found the guy ahead of me. He's right.
Yeah, I'm sure. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. When I made the leap, and I enjoyed being a pastor for a lot of those years, and Capitalize was part-time.
Okay.
But again, Capitalize wasn't going to grow unless I went full-time.
Yep.
And the goals we had for our family. And, and I was very frequent on social media before then.
Yep.
And people would ask me, well, what are you going to do different? And I told them, I said, man, I'm going to blow up social media.
Yes.
And they're like, you're everywhere. I'm like, you haven't seen everywhere. And I still look today, and I'm like, I can be more pervasive.
Yes.
I just launched a Telegram channel. I wasn't even on Telegram.
Is that a new app?
Telegram is like, it's a messenger app. That's all it is.
Okay.
You don't have to be on any social media platform. It's like WhatsApp.
Okay. I don't have that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like if you extracted Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
And it was an app. Yeah. And so I've got a private channel for folks who want daily social media prompts.
Yeah.
It's like it's a $1 a day program.
Okay.
So if folks are like, I'm not ready to be a coach yet, but I don't know when to do social media. It's like, well, for $1 a day, I'll tell you what to do today. Yeah. And because I looked at it, I was like, I'm not on Telegram. It takes me 30 seconds to my phone in the morning, and I can give some benefit. And then everybody on my Telegram, they're in the pipeline.
Yes.
That they're to be potential clients.
Yes.
And because
that's a great idea.
if the pipeline ain't full,
that's the thing. That's the constant trying to fill that pipeline. So I hit a goal last month that only 10% of first-year agents can do. So it's super.
What's that?
It was a certain financial mark.
Good for you. That's incredible. Congrats.
So I sold so much and which was cool. It was a short month. So it was February. So it was only 28 days. So I really had to hammer it.
Wow.
And that is what I'm trying to do now is rebuild that pipeline because I was like, I'm getting this goal.
Yeah, you exhausted the pipeline.
Yes, I ran through. So maybe that's a good idea. Maybe I should jump on Telegram.
Yeah, man. When I was consulting with eye doctors, that was my exclusive side gig for probably 10 years. I made the same mistake I think 3 times, and every time I made the mistake, I said I'm not going to do it this time.
Yep.
And that would be I would get a really steady eye doctor I was consulting with, and I would stop prospecting. Yeah. Because, I put a lot into those. And then that doctor fell, and all of a sudden I had no one. I had to go get it. It happened to me 3 times. And that 3rd time, I finally was hard-headed, and I finally got it. I'm like, if the pipeline is not full, if the funnel's not full. But you know what the fear is of a full funnel? You're like, well, I can't serve them.
Exactly. The service levels.
Then you got to grow.
That's the ticket.
You just got to grow, or you got to find a way to keep in contact with them, give them destinations. Can we talk in 90 days? But if there's not people in the funnel or the pipeline or whatever language, the upline, whatever you want to call it,
you're going to run out.
You're one day away from all of your business going away.
Yep.
Exactly. I had a 2-week period early on in the business where I lost 50% of our revenue. 2 weeks.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Yep, that's tough.
I was driving around. I had to go for a neurology appointment in up north. And when I don't enjoy those anyway, those checking on my brain and my epilepsy and all that stuff. And I'm on the phone, and I'm like, dude, we just lost. I had a business partner back then. I was like, we just lost 50% of our revenue in 2 weeks.
And that's scary.
It's terrifying.
So scary.
It's terrifying. You know?
And that's, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
We lost 50% of our business.
Well, you've lost clients. You've looked at the bottom line. You've lost a chunk, and you're like, there goes the progress we made. You guys work on retention, right? You need folks to sign continue year after year, right?
Yeah, we need you to stay.
Right.
And that's why we focus on relationships. I think that's also maybe a key part of growing a business is focusing on relationships. Mm-hmm. We don't focus on the dollars. We just focus on the relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And maybe that's just the key takeaway from something I've taken away from starting a business is at first I was just chasing money. Like I was literally chasing the dollars. And then it just flipped. And I was like, man, these are just great people. Mm-hmm. Like these are our community, at least in Fredericksburg, the business community has been so welcoming to us. Yeah. I don't know how to describe it, but thank you to everybody because
it's a great community.
It's
a great community.
Wide open arms. Mm-hmm. Nobody's looked at us like, we've got 3 heads. Everybody's just been just super supportive. And I didn't expect that. And we started shifting our focus to let's just help our people. Like, what do they need?
Right.
And that has given us also another leg up on our other insurance partners is I'm not focusing on what can you send me or what,
Right.
We're going to take great care of your clients regardless. Like, I can guarantee you that.
Right.
But what we're also going to do is try to help you grow your business.
Nice.
And
that's it.
If that means I can bring referrals to you or help you host events or help whatever it is you're doing. And I've actually had a couple lenders now reach out to us because they like our energy.
Sure. Yeah.
We bring energy.
Yeah.
We're not just sitting on the sidelines. We're active in there with you. If you want us to go to an event with you, you want us to go do something with you, we're there.
I used to never use that energy, that language, but people have got a vibe. People have got an energy that you find out. Like, I just love, I love like cutting it up with Corbin. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna have coffee, we're gonna talk about what we're reading and what we're doing, and then you bump into other people and you're like, my energy's getting sucked right now.
Exactly.
And that's hard, Yeah, and then if you've got a choice, you're like, I'm not hanging. If I've got a choice,
you're gonna want to work with those.
Yeah, people. I can't spend time because I just leave there. Completely drained.
Exactly. And you feel, our partners, it's been extremely beneficial for them. Mm-hmm. We just had a networking event last week in Richmond. Yeah. And we had over 100 people come. And
that's incredible, by the way. 100 people in a room is hard to get. That's amazing.
It was our first one that that we hosted, that we actually did all the work for, set up the venue, everything. Mm-hmm. But it helped our partners. So what we did is we brought in folks that they wanted.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah, and then it's so.
Well, you're putting their clients in your room.
Exactly, and then everybody's a client for us. Really.
Right.
Everybody.
Yeah.
So, we just try to do whatever we can to help our partners.
That's perfect, man.
So that's a note, I guess, to any young entrepreneurs. see what you can do to help your target. Like, what can I do to further them? And I think it'll help further you even more in the long run.
Well, I'll have to have you on again sometime because there's plenty to talk about. Because beyond all of this, then the questions that we don't have time to talk about is, well, how do you build a business?
Yeah.
Like, how do you have admin and bookkeeping and CPA? And what I tell young guys all the time is an idea is not a business.
No.
It's not. I mean, that's and don't tell me, man, I can sell a bunch of these. If you're not a salesperson, you can't.
No.
If you haven't proven it, just go find 3 people who want it.
Yes. And
like just go find 3 people who would buy this from you, and we'll work from there.
Yep.
The sales experts out there that we probably both listen to are even more harsh than that.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, like, if you can't find 3 people who would give you your price point, don't do this, man.
Yeah, not for you.
Yeah.
Weren't you the one who told me, I don't remember who said it, but the saying was, if you could be anything but an entrepreneur, be that.
Yeah, it's poison. It's poison if you go this route and you don't have the fortitude for it.
Yes.
And I'm not bragging about my fortitude, but there's a reason I run endurance races, man.
Yes.
Because you'll be into it and you'll put your whole family on the line, and the family's got to be built for it. You've got to be a business person. But if you can do something other than this, go do it.
Yes.
Because you will at least, well, probably most every stage, you're letting security go.
Oh, yeah. There's no security.
No.
But, yeah. And that's but honestly, my brain, especially the way it is now that I've done it, I could never do anything but it.
Yeah. I just left a 1-hour mastermind with some authors that I'm a part of on Thursdays. And they were talking about brainstorming. And my brain didn't stop. I got 4 ideas for tomorrow if I can enact on them. And they were talking about the same thing. And they were talking about, well, how do you wrestle in the crazy brain, or what's the other term that psychologists call it? They call it the reptile brain. Yeah. When you get into the lizard brain, what am I going to do with the lizard brain today? Well, for an entrepreneur or for a young business person, it's all the time. Like, do I try this? Should I try this? Should I try this? Being a business person, being a business owner is. But I've sought counsel.
Yep.
I've thought through the return of investment.
Exactly.
I can take a loss for a quarter on this if I have to. If you're making a marketing investment or something like that.
Yes.
That's where the idea is not a business. That's where you got to get a mentor. You got to pay for a coach or something to get there.
That idea transitions into a business.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's I have those ideas, and that's why when I have all those running, I just keep this notebook.
I love it.
Everywhere. I keep it in my little top pocket, and I jot down. I have an idea book by my bed too.
I send texts to my wife that make no sense.
Yes.
Like if it doesn't make any sense, she knows. Okay.
Yep.
Or sometimes I'll go, "Will you please make a note of this?" At best, but sometimes they don't make any sense whatsoever. And I Facebook message myself all the time.
Yes.
Constantly.
That's a good idea. So I usually text Megan.
But I send it to Facebook. I will. Or I text photos to Facebook. Like, my Facebook Messenger just blows up. I just send myself up all the time.
Not a bad idea.
Go to that, go to that, go to that. So, but then I got to make sure I can find it. So I should. I mean, there's so many systems out there, Smart Notes, and things like that.
I've tried.
Could be used.
I've tried the electronic ways.
Yeah.
I'm just pen and paper. It's just
that's it, man.
For me,
it doesn't matter, right? If it works, it works.
That's just my process. Hopefully, I'll get more efficient with some calendar keeping, electronically, but paper, pen and paper's for me.
Well, man, I hate to cut it short. It's been great. We could easily, you and I could talk for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't get into who we're reading or watching or listening to right now, and that's constant.
We'll come back. We'll do it again.
We will.
And hopefully we'll dive more in depth to Uber because we can.
I would love for you to lead that a little bit because I want to be very smart about and mindful of what you've done there.
Yep.
But